Ron DeSantis is, of course, the Republican frontrunner for the 2024 presidential election. Hell, based on polls right now, he's the front runner overall because he wins against Biden too for the 2024 presidential race. So the wind is at DeSantis's back, right? Everything is going right for Ron DeSantis. But there's trouble ahead. A new report from the New York Times explains it better than I've seen it explained anywhere, and it's something that I honestly hadn't even thought about yet. So let me distill what the New York Times wrote this week. They talked about how Ron DeSantis is not one to shy away from media. Unless, of course, that media is not a very friendly conservative outlet. Ron DeSantis, who is now entering his 5th year as the governor of the state of Florida, has never sat down with any of the corporate media outlets, NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, hasn't sat down with any of them to do a long-form interview. And in fact, he typically bars reporters from national news outlets that are not conservative outlets from asking questions at press conferences. The few times they've been able to kind of weasel their way in and ask questions, he immediately gets angry and flustered and shuts them down, screaming things like, "Stop, stop, stop," and then say that you're trying to cast aspersions. Sorry, read that wrong. To put it another way, he hates non-friendly media, and he is not willing to talk to them at all. Now, contrast that with Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump spent every day demonizing the media, talking about how horrible they are. They're enemies of the people. He even said that again just a couple weeks ago. But he will still sit down and do an interview with ABC when they come calling. He'll do an interview with HBO. He'll do an interview with CBS. He'll do 60 Minutes. He'll do CNN. He will go against people that he absolutely despises because he loves that media spotlight. And then afterwards, he'll talk about what a horrible human being that person was and everybody should hate them. But he'll do the interview and he'll get that national spotlight and be seen by an audience who isn't tuning in to conservative media. DeSantis doesn't do that. And if you're going to run for president, you kind of have to go on media outlets that most people watch. I know Fox News has the biggest cable news audience out there, but let's be honest. When you break it down compared to the demographics of the United States, Fox News doesn't even have 1% of the U.S. population watching them on any given day. Not even 1%. And they're the most watched. So you can take your Charlie Kirks and your Candace Owens and your Ben Shapiro's and your Newsmax and One America. They're below Fox News. So they've got even less than 1% of the public watching them. So 99% of the public out here is either not watching the news, which is common, or they're watching other corporate news outlets that DeSantis refuses to go near, so they continue to bash him. So if he wants to run for president, he's going to have to suck it up and put on his big boy pants and go talk to some adversarial media. It's what he has to do. Because if not, most of the country is going to look at him and be like, I don't even know who this guy is. Of course I'm not going to vote for him. All I've seen is bad things. He hasn't explained himself to me. So Ron DeSantis has a very real media problem. And I know some people are saying, but Farron, what about the debates, right? Oh, the debates, he'll be able to introduce himself. Yeah, good luck with that. If you've seen Ron DeSantis debate, you know why that's a death sentence for him. So even though he is the front runner, he's got a lot more problems ahead of him, and I don't think he's prepared to address those issues. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.